So last week we started a new series talking about different setups that I use for different techniques. And if you're going out and buying a certain setup, lures, rod, reel, line, things like that, what you should be looking for. And last week was the first episode. We talked about the jig head minnow. This week we're going to talk about the technique that got this whole set series started. What made me want to do this whole thing, and that is the bladed jig, the chatterbait, thunder cricket, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're going to be talking about today. My setup and some tips and tricks that I have for you for the bladed jigs. But before we get into the setup, if you're looking for some new rod sleeves and you don't want to go pay the premium price for Evolve rod sleeves or the rod gloves or things like that, Bass Smooch released there's some new colors in their neoprene rod sleeves, and these are the same snag resistant rod sleeves that Evolve, Rod Glove, and all those other high-end companies make that you would have to pay $15+ a sleeve for. The same tip protection, the same adjustable reel strap, the same rubber grip seal to put them on, and these are only $9. And if you use my discount code Knuckleheads15, you can get these for $8. So if you want a cheap alternative for some good neoprene snag-resistant rod sleeves and you don't want to pay the premium price, the Bass Smooch neoprene rod sleeves are a great option. Comes in 3 colors. You have this camo color, you have the black color, which you can see on some of my rods back there, and there's also a black camo, which is like this, and it has the black and some gray and stuff in it. It looks really cool. But if you want to go pick those up, I will leave the link in the description so you can go get you some Bass Smooch neoprene rod sleeves today. But without further ado, chatterbaits setup. So I learned a lot. I never really wanted to fish a chatterbait until this past fall. I learned a ton of different stuff about it, not just how to fish it, but also how effective it is when you fish it in the right areas and at the right time. So we're going to talk about it some today: rod, reel, line, baits, trailers, all things of that nature. But the most important, like, setup wise thing for me is definitely the rod. So with the chatterbait, you want a rod that's not super stiff so you can still get the correct action in the blade and you can get the most action out of your lure, but you don't want it too flimsy so you're still able to keep the hook in the fish because it's still a single hooked bait. It's not like a crankbait or a jerkbait, things like that. Maybe more where you would want a more moderate bending rod. So Level makes a chatterbait rod. It's not called a chatterbait rod, but it's meant for bladed jigs. It is their Level NGX 7.2 medium, heavy, moderate, fast action. So it's not the moderate action that's super flimsy, but it's not the fast action that's super stiff. It's right in the middle, and it's perfect for a bladed jig. And 7.2 gets you can be able to cast those a little bit further, and a medium heavy rod, perfect for all weight applications. If you're not familiar with the NGX series, it is a 30-40 Japanese carbon Toray blank with a carbon X-wrap running all the way up the rod to make it super light and super sensitive, with a carbon reel seat, carbon butt, Fuji cave frame guides, so those guides aren't going to break off. I've stepped on these guides and bent them and been able to bend them back just fine, not having a problem with it. And these are the best ranked, or wiredtofish.com ranked these the best rod of the year. So if you want to pick some of these up, I'll also leave the link in the description, not just for the 7.2 medium, heavy, moderate, fast, but for the rest of the lineup. They're only $170 a rod. You can get them for around $150-ish with my discount code. So if you want to go pick these up, they're a great option. Also, the new Rake series by Level, completely off topic, is coming out soon as well. Keep a lookout for that toward the end of February. But this rod, it's perfect for your bladed jigs. I'm also going to be multi-purposing it as a treble hook topwater rod. So for my stove tops, for my Papa Chewies, my spooks, things like that, I'll be using this for as well because of that moderate fast action. I still want a little bit of stiffness to that rod, but I don't want a super flimsy rod, so I can still be able to walk those baits effectively. And that's what I'm loving about this rod so far. I've probably caught like 18 fish with this rod. I've lost one single fish. I used to use my 7-foot medium heavy fast. I lost a few more fish with that one. Ever since I got this one, it's been fantastic. It has been a game changer. Reel. This is a reel that I got for free. It's an Abu Garcia reel. called like the virtual connected reel. I got out of a tournament, and I have a bunch of them laying around, and I'm going to use them because they're free. And I don't have to go out and buy another SLX or Lose speed spool or things like that. So I'm going to use these. I do like it. There's a 6:3 to 1 gear ratio. I like the 6 gear ratios. I don't want anything higher than like a 6.5 because it's a lot easier to speed up a slow reel than it is to slow down a fast reel. And you're able to control your speed with your chatterbait a lot better if you want to reel it fast, if you want to reel a jackhammer slow on the bottom, things like that. You're able to do all of those with a 6 gear ratio. If I had a brand preference, it'd be Lose. I know I'm weird. I'm not affiliated with Lose at all. I just like Lose reels and how unique they are. If I had to choose one to put on here, it would probably be the BB1 Pro, I think is what I'd put on here. Just because it's super, super durable and it's going to last a long time. And it looks slick. But a 6 gear ratio is definitely what I would go with. And then if you're always fishing around grass or things like that on Florida, I'd maybe bump it up to a 7. But otherwise, a 6 would be perfect. Line. Weight of line, I keep it 15 or 17 Zingora fluorocarbon. 15 or 7. Right now I have 15 spooled up. Because I'm not fishing the super heavy cover that a lot of guys are fishing. Some guys fish like 20. Some guys fish a little bit lighter. I'm fishing 15, unless I'm fishing around more grass, which there's not a lot of where I live. I'm gonna stick with 15. But if I'm fishing around a lot more cover, I'll bump it up to 17, so I have that little bit more abrasion resistance, and I don't have to worry as much if I hook a bigger fish and it gets wrapped around something. I'm still pretty comfortable being able to haul that thing in. But the Zingora fluorocarbon, thinnest line on the market. Super thin, low memory, high abrasion resistance line, and it's a Japanese technology fluorocarbon. It is thinner than your top brand fluorocarbons. It's thinner than P-Line Tactical fluorocarbon. I'm pretty sure it's thinner than that Sunline's, I think it's a Sniper, something like that. Their highest fluorocarbon. It's a little bit thinner. So if you're looking for a thin fluorocarbon that's still as durable as the rest, this is definitely a way to go. But that's what I have spooled up there. So that's rod, reel, line, baits. Baits and trailers, actually. We'll just keep it all in the same category. I'm the person. I'm the keep it simple stupid guy, the KISS method. I don't, to be honest, I have a single jackhammer in my box. It's red. I'd overthrow red chatterbait. Jackhammers, I'll use them in tournaments. I don't like buying them because they're like 20 bucks. I have stuck with my OG chatterbaits and my Thunder Crickets, which the Tungsten Thunder Cricket has actually been fantastic, but I broke all mine off. But the OG chatterbaits for fun fishing are perfect. You don't need anything more than that. They get the job done. They'll catch fish. The jackhammer may put 1 or 2 more fish in your boat than an OG chatterbait would on a really good day. But everybody's throwing a jackhammer now. But everybody's throwing a chatterbait. Period. But I guess that's why Z-Man and Strike King and all the companies have released a bunch of different ones. But they have, if you want something different, look at the, I would just go to the store. This is all I can tell you because chatterbaits are becoming so popular. Go to the store shelves and see which, so they have the OG chatterbait, they have the Chatterbait Evo, they have the Evo Tungsten, they have the Mini Max, they have the Big Blade, and they have the jackhammer. See which one's bought the least, and then pick that one. Because that means the fish I've seen in that area are seeing less of that. But that's just a theory of mine. That may not be true or not. But I'm usually sticking, this is just an original chatterbait. Plain and simple. That's what's on here too. An original chatterbait. I didn't get my jackhammer out because I didn't want to. Because it's in a different box. Original chatterbait. I've caught fish on this one. I've caught a bunch of fish on this one. There's no need for it. Though I did not. This is one I pulled straight out of the package. I did not trim the skirt. I usually trim the skirt right below the hook on my chatterbaits. But that's what that's the chatterbaiter on trailers. Because I don't feel like paying money that I don't have to. If I don't have to pay $20 to get a jackhammer, I'm not going to. I'm going to pay the cheaper alternative. So is every fisherman ever. If they can buy it cheaper, they will. So that's why I choose the OG chatterbaits. All right, trailers. Another one. Keep it simple, stupid. These are the only two trailers that I have in my boat for a bladed jig. The only two. One of them's always out of stock. Every time it comes back in stock, it sells out again because of how good and how effective it is. And that's the shovel tail, the Bass Smooch shovel tail. That's what I have on there right now. I have one pack. Actually, I have 2 packs left. I have 3 packs left. I have 2 in my trailer bag down there. 2 packs of these in the French Pearl, 1 in the green pumpkin for this one. That's it. That's what I have. I haven't got my hands on any more because they're always out of stock and never have any ever. But that's what I have on here. The shovel tail mimics how a bait fish swims on the back of a chatterbait perfectly. A bait fish swims like this. Guess what the shovel tail does on the back of a chatterbait? This. Just like that. Mimics it perfectly. You don't need anything else. 6 colors. And it stinks with the mooch juice. Game changer. They have it in the French Pearl. They have it in the green pumpkin. They have it in the Tennessee Shad, which is a green pumpkin with a French Pearl on the bottom. Those are the 3 colors that have been sold out so much. They also have a Fire Crawl red. They have a black with blue flake. And they have a chartreuse spot remover color. And those are the colors in these. They have the 6 colors. And they've been selling like fire. So make sure you keep checking bassmooch.com. They're also now on Tackle Warehouse. If keep checking Tackle Warehouse, keep checking bassmooch.com. So when these come back in stock, you're able to get your hands on them because these things are hot right now. Also, whenever I'm throwing, if I want something a little bit more erratic, or if I'm throwing the Mini Max, the Chatterbait Mini Max, oh, I love it. It's perfect for pressured fish. I'm throwing the Could Be on the back of it because it's more of your straight tail, slim body trailer, kind of like a freeloader that tail's just gonna go everywhere. And that's what this thing does. I did a whole video on this thing. I've thrown it in the back of a chatterbait a lot. It does the job. It especially does super well on the Mini Max. But if you just stuck that thing on pure, it's just a hair shorter than the shovel tail. Just a hair. And then if you're throwing that Mini Max, you can just pop that head off and pop a little bit more off if you choose to make it a little bit more compact. It works perfectly. It's your straight tail, flat-sided trailer / jig head bait / it's great. I love that bait. It's one of my favorite soft plastics ever. Loving the Could Be. And it's a great trailer, not just on a chatterbait, but on anything. But that's the bait. So keep it simple. I would take a trailer, more natural trailer like the shovel tail, which is a perfect trailer, and then a straight tail trailer like the Could Be. Or if you don't want to go buy Bass Mooch, because I like it, go Rapala freeloader is a great option, Spunk Shad, things like that. But I would definitely recommend these 2 baits because you don't have to do a lot of work, and they're only $5 a bag compared to $7, $8 that you're paying for other top brands out there, and you're getting the same great quality. Now, tips and tricks that I may have. The biggest tip that I have learned this fall, and that's definitely caught me more fish, is not that I fell into the trap of getting my chatterbait and just straight winding it like you would a spinnerbait. Straight winding it back to the cast, wind, cast, wind. That the amount of fish that will chase that bait and not eat it is crazy. And that's not just with a chatterbait, but with any bait, with a lot of moving baits now. So instead of just casting and winding, which, yes, you can catch fish doing, you will catch more fish and capitalize on more bites and get more reaction strikes if you cast, wind, jerk, wind, stop, wind, boom, boom, wind, pop, wind, stop, wind, upwards, pop, whatever you want to call it, wind. Making it more erratic, giving it movement every so often. So not like wind, pop, wind, pop, wind, not like something that you're going to do constantly, not two cranks and a pop. Something erratic, something the fish won't, it's not, because when bait fish run away from fish, they don't just keep going the same speed they're swimming. They go faster, they move away, they jump, they jerk, especially herring, they skip on the freaking top of the water sometimes. So, I mean, more erratic is definitely a big key, but not just with a chatterbait, but it's definitely something you should do with a chatterbait, with crankbaits, with spinnerbaits, all those kind of moving baits. making sure you're making that thing erratic is definitely important. Another thing, you can use this thing as a jig if there's not a lot of cover around. So you're able to cast this thing out and just pop and get that blade going just a little bit, letting it fall back down. Create that little bit of vibration, call those fish in, and then it'll just sit on the bottom however it wants to sit, like that, like that. It will sit how a jig would, especially if you throw like a cross style trailer on the back of it. It'll look like a jig. I mean, that's what it is, a bladed jig. It's a jig with the blade on it. And I'm pretty sure there's some companies that make like a weedless bladed jig. So you can get one with like an EWG style hook or with a weed guards, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but you're able to fish it like a jig, cast it out, let it fall, fish it like your jig, but without a couple like short hops, like one big hop, getting that blade vibrating a little bit to call those fish in, letting it fall back down. I caught a couple fish doing that as well. Because I don't like jig fishing, but I'll be able to do a video on that soon. But that is my chatterbait setup. I will leave the link for every single product that I talked about in this video in the description. So if you want to pick up the rod, the line, I'll leave the chatterbaits that I like to use down there. The could be, the shovel tail, anything, the rod sleeve. I'll put it in the description too. I'll leave it in the description through my link. So it'll take you straight to the Bass Mooch website. Plus, use code Knuckleheads15. You'll save 15% on your order. Plus, if you spend $50 or more on baits, excluding rods, it's free shipping. But if you buy 2 or more rods, you get free shipping. So if you bought 1 rod with my code, you're paying like $20 in tax plus another $40 in shipping. But if you buy 2 rods, you're paying, so they're like $150 a piece, $300. So instead of paying like $200, you'll be paying $300 for 2 rods instead of paying $200 for 1. So just think about that a little bit. It'll save you a little bit of money. Whenever you're buying rods, buying multiples can save just a hair of change, but instead of buying 1 now and then 1 in 2 weeks. But that's what I have for you today. If you want to see a certain setup that I use and you're looking for insight on what setup you should buy, in the comments, let me know. I have plenty of techniques that I can talk about that I fish well. If I don't fish it a lot, or I don't fish it enough, or I don't fish it well, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to give you garbage. But that's all I got for you today. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also hit the sub button if you're new. Make sure you're going to follow the TikTok, the Instagram, and the new Facebook. I don't announce that enough on here, but I am on other social medias. So make sure you go find me. It's Knuckleheads Fishing on everything. So go find me on those. Follow me. There's a lot of content on those that you don't see here on YouTube. So make sure you go follow there, and we will catch you guys in the next one.